Greetings from our home to you. This is Chaplain Clark. It's good to be with you today with a homily about forgiveness and reconciliation. Let me say at the start, there are times when forgiveness is very challenging, yet it's part of our walk of faith. Peter, one of Jesus' disciples, is having a conversation with Jesus in Matthew, where he asks Jesus, "Master, how many times am I to forgive my brother when he sins against me? As many as 7? And Jesus replies, I wouldn't say 7. I would say 70 times 7. I'm guessing Peter was shocked, wondering what in the world Jesus is talking about. As I just suggested, forgiveness is at the very core of our faith. There's a distinction between God's unconditional forgiveness and the idea that the world buys into, that of keeping score. It's quite understandable that Peter would ask Jesus what the limit of forgiveness is. Have you noticed in your life, as I have in mine, how often we use an imaginary calculator in our hand, especially when it comes in relationships with others? We might wonder, what's the bottom line? Give me a number so I know what to work with. Forgiven enough? Are we keeping score? What's the deal? Is Jesus setting a limit? Should we take this answer literally? Forgiveness is a gift offered freely from God because of what Christ has done for us. And we miss the point of it all if we keep doing the math in our heads. Jesus is saying forgiveness is beyond calculation. The unbelievable, unmerited forgiveness of God is not a matter of keeping score, but of amazing grace. You can't earn it, it only can be given. God did the math in God's heart when he sent his Son to die on the cross. That's the place where forgiveness begins. And God's love is like that, always surprising. Consider the greatness of God's grace, and how does that impact our need to forgive one another? In some ways, forgiveness is the hardest thing we do. Forgiveness sometimes takes practice. Small hurts forgiven along the way can lead to big hurts forgiven. I remember Nelson Mandela in South Africa in his book Long Walk to Freedom, imprisoned for 27 years, and then he was set free. What was amazing to me is that when he released, there was no retribution, no revenge, no bloodbath, instead just forgiveness and reconciliation. He knew that without forgiveness there was no future. And finally, forgiveness takes desire. I want to be forgiven and forgiving. Forgiveness is like air in our lungs. There's only room to inhale more when we've expelled that breath that was in us. In your relationships today, may you be open to the love and forgiveness of God, and then be open and forgiving to one another, and you will experience true joy and peace. Blessings to you today. This is Chaplain Clark.